Hello and welcome to episode 1094 of The Sleeper and the Bust. It is Friday, September 2nd. I'm your host, Paul Sporer, joined this morning by Justin Mason. Justin, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
A little tired today. Woke up really early so we could record, and someone hit the snooze button.
I was going to say, I did not. I'm also really tired. I tried to remedy some of that by sleeping through my alarm. My apologies. I was actually sleeping on the couch here, right behind us. Not for any sort of negative reason, but Jen's been battling COVID.
Oh, no.
She was, I don't think I'm going to get it because I had it so recently. So it's not even like we've been avoiding each other, but she was zonked out last night. I was like, I don't want to disrupt her sleep going to bed after my stream and possibly wake her up. So I'll just sleep on the couch. Well, it was a little toss and turn, and it wasn't the most quick to sleep, which led to a snooze through the alarm. And then, me being woken up by Jen saying, hey, Justin told me to wake you up. So my apologies there. That's 100% on me. But thankfully, we still have time. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to talk Oswald Peraza getting called up. Budding ace. I want to know if you're taking him as an ace next year. And then we'll talk some weekend streamers. Just some guys that you'll have to check your availability. They're not all available across all formats. Some will be available only in 10s, some in 12s, some in 15s. But we're going to cover some of the key weekend streamers here. But let's start with Oswald Peraza. The Yankees called him up, and in concert, they brought up Anthony Volpe to AAA because he's about, he's a level behind. And obviously, he kind of draws the headlines. Not that Peraza's some joke of a prospect. He's a big-time prospect as well. Everyone was excited for Volpe, but he's just not ready yet. So it's Peraza that gets called up. He had a 106 WRC plus at AAA, 19 homers, 33 steals. Plate skills aren't amazing, 23% K, 8% walk. Suggest that those will be, maybe upper 20s strikeout rate and maybe like a 6-7% walk rate at the majors if you're going to regress those AAA numbers. Where are you going for Peraza? Is he a must get everywhere just in case he pops? Is he a deeper league play? And what kind of playing time does Peraza have for the Yankees? What do you think about the 22-year-old infield prospect?
I mean, I think long term he's going to be really good. And I think he's going to be like really good for fantasy. So the question really becomes, what kind of playing time do we see him getting this year? Is he going to be
that's the biggest question right
now. Timer? Now, he is a premium defender. So I think that really helps him, in terms of potentially getting that playing time.
Yeah, because that's the only thing IKF ostensibly does, right, is contribute a glove. His glove hasn't even been that exquisite this year. So if Peraza can pick it at short, he's probably a bat improvement over Kiner-Falefa as well.
And I definitely think he's a glove. Like, Kiner-Falefa is probably a really, really good third baseman. I think he's probably maybe average, above average. At short. So, I wonder where he plays long term, or if they're going to, Volpe is coming up too at some point, probably next year. And
I don't think he'll make it up this year unless he just destroys AAA for 2 weeks and then a need comes open. Then I could see Volpe maybe getting in the call, but right now, no.
So I don't know that he's a must pick up though, because we just really
I agree. Oswald Peraza. Sorry. Oswald Peraza, not necessarily picking him up everywhere right now. And is that because of the playing time for you?
Yeah,
that's what it is for me.
Completely the playing time. I think he, obviously any prospect can struggle offensively, but I just don't know where he plays regularly in this lineup. This is a already loaded offense that's got all its pieces healthy. I mean, outside of Rizzo, I guess right now, but he wouldn't be in consideration for first base anyway. So I just don't know where I see the full-time playing time coming up. I think in like if you've got like deep rosters, like deep benches, and daily moves, he makes some sense because he could definitely steal his way to being valuable.
Yeah.
But I don't, of all the September call-ups, like I don't think he's even in my top 3, much less maybe even not top 5. So
yeah, because obviously we've seen a ton of guys get called up. We'll probably see more over the weekend. It could set up a big free agent buy this weekend.
Gunnar Henderson. Give me Gunnar Henderson. Yeah,
I like Gunnar. I agree.
I do too.
Let's say this though. Peraza starts all 3 games at short this weekend. Does that change your tune?
Yes, a little bit. Yeah.
All of a sudden, I start to consider him in most of the formats.
Yeah, because you want a piece of that Yankees lineup. Even
Yes.
I mean, he'll hit
Even
at the
9.
bottom.
Yep.
Yeah, but you want a piece of that lineup, especially a guy who can run on the bases the way he can. So, I do wonder what the power is going to look like at the major league level. I know he hit a bunch of home runs in AAA this year, but I don't know that the power is going to translate, especially right away necessarily. But I mean, speed, I think he's got good enough contact skills that he can utilize that speed as well. So, yeah, I mean, if he's playing every day, then I think he could be a difference maker. You can make the argument he should be picked up in every league. But I don't know how that happens with the way the team is currently constructed.
Yeah, I would be surprised if Oswald Peraza started all 3 games at short this weekend. But if he did, that would start to push me toward some of the shallower formats. Right now, I'm looking at Peraza in deeper formats as a main pickup. But those 10s and a lot of 12s, I'm probably passing unless that playing time looks great. Spenser Strider set a Braves record with 16 strikeouts. Crazy thing about that is it's not like they've had issues with finding pitchers in their history. In fact, they're kind of known for putting some pretty great pitchers out there, and yet he sets the record here with the 16 Ks. I want to say Smoltz was the one with 15, maybe other guys too, but I know Smoltz has had 15 before. He didn't even need the full game to do it, by the way. He pitched 8 innings, 2 hits, no walks, 16 strikeouts on 106 pitches. Strider's been amazing. And the thing was, this is one that he might get people to be a little bit more aggressive next year when they believe in a talent, because I think some people pulled themselves back based on the fact that there was some start and stops with him early on, right? There was a few longer inning things, and then he went back into 1 inning relief roles. It's like, well, it's not ready. I'll move on. But the people that believed in his talent kind of held through that. And then by the end of May, he was a starter. And they planned it out perfectly, because that way they knew if they didn't start consistently starting Strider until the end of May, then they could push him the whole way. And that's exactly what they've done. There have been no inning restrictions. He's making it to the finish line right now, at least as far as like being managed for innings. And he's been amazing. Let me ask you this, though. Let's spin it forward. Is Spenser Strider a top 10 starter for you next year?
That's really tough. And the fact that I'm even thinking about it says a lot about what I think and what I've seen from Spenser Strider. Like, you look at the underlying numbers and everything is in line with what he's doing. Like,
beautiful.
It's unreal good. Yeah. He's a young pitcher. Pitching is hard. What kind of, like, he's probably going to fit. I mean, who knows what he's going to finish with this year? He's probably got 3 or 4 more starts, and
4 or 5. I mean, you got the whole month here. And, don't forget, we go into early October. We go
into October this year. Oh, man. He could probably finish with 140, 150 innings, which would set him up perfectly to be like a 180 guy next year, or he may even just stay at 150. And, that's fine in this day and age. I mean, I just worry about a sophomore slump. But there's nothing in the numbers that says he shouldn't be a top 10 guy. It's
more of the baseball history of it. And I understand it's like sometimes that's not satisfying for people to be like, well, historically, guys, have a give back after that first amazing.
It's lazy analysis, but it's not wrong necessarily either.
Exactly.
Like all the people who are like, well, Marcus Semien and Cedric Mullins are going to take a step back because you have to. Like, no, I mean, you don't.
It was true.
Semion's been pretty good after that slow start.
He won. So I know I figured it out with Semien. He didn't think the majors were difficult enough, so he wanted to front the league, like a 40-game edge with no homers. He's like, I'll do this tie behind my back, one hand tie behind my back. They're like, well, you can't do that. Like literally, it goes, okay, fine. How about, hear me out, first 43 games I don't hit a homer. And John Daniels overheard, and he came in and said, no, well, don't do that, Marcus. Don't. And Marcus was just on it. He's like, no, I'm doing that. I'm going to do that. I'm not going to hit a homer for the first 43 games. And he just started freaking out. He's like frothing at the mouth. I was all excited about, I'm going to show the league how good I am. I don't know. I got the inside dish on this. I wanted to share it on the pod. Marcus Semien purposely didn't hit a homer for 43 games just to show that he could hit 20 in his next 86 games. And show all us fantasy dweebs that he was
what we didn't know was like his pay for this season was backloaded into the season.
We had if I'd have had that out front, man, we'd have known.
He was only getting paid. He was getting paid minimum wage for the first 40 games.
Exactly.
And after that,
So he was going to earn his keep.
Strider, like he's gonna be like a top 10 ADP pitcher. Like, I'd be very surprised if he wasn't. Will I be able to pull the trigger at that point? I don't know. Like, I think that, like I said,
It's
I think
big.
everything
big
is
number.
there. That is a lot. I think if you do it, you pair him with like an established stud, like a guy that
be Woody. What if you go Brandon Woodruff?
I think
Spencer
that's
Strider?
great. You know, yeah, I think Woodruff Strider is probably a perfect pairing.
I
So
would love that.
yeah, or like in Alcantara, and Strider.
If you can get a firm innings eater with him, even his teammate Max Fried, and
Yeah,
then he being Strider supplies the surplus strikeouts for your 1-2 punch there. That can be really hot. He is 17th on the player rater for starting pitchers this year. Actually, a little bit lower than I would have thought. I would have thought he'd be higher. I mean, 17's amazing. I'm not dogging him out.
yeah, but like
I
some of those names aren't gonna be in consideration.
Exactly. Are you taking Tony Gonsolin as a top 15, top 12?
I'm not touching Tony. He's getting MRI
especially with
today,
right now.
like,
Yeah,
like
with his health, so he's out of that list.
Yeah.
What about Kyle Wright? He's 7th, another teammate of Strider's. He's
I think
7th right now. Where do you see him?
I'm taking Strider above him, but I'm pretty high on.
Yeah,
we
were early on that Wright train, and it has not derailed at all. It's been really nice.
Mhm.
What about Carlos Rodon? We're looking at a second straight pretty healthy season here. Do you worry with the hot potato? Like, you don't want to be caught holding the bag, though. I'm saying how I feel, to be honest. So I don't want to project onto you, but like, that's kind of how I feel. We've gotten 2 great seasons from him. I don't want to be caught holding the bag with him as a top 10, 12 pitcher if the body gives out again. So I'm personally nervous about Rodon. What about you after another great year here with the Giants?
I'm nervous too. One, because the injury history, and 2, wherever he ends up next year is probably not going to be as good of a park and situation as pitching for the Giants.
But you guys still have him next year, though.
He's got to.
Oh, he can opt out.
He's an opt out,
He
and he is gonna opt out.
He's opting out. Yep.
Yeah,
it's not even a question. Like,
unless he gets hurt, in the next 4 weeks, like.
And it's not even that he'll necessarily beat the 22.5 that you guys owe him. It's that he'll get a 3-year deal, and he has to take the years.
Maybe even longer.
Yeah, he might get 360, 480, something like that. So it's less, than the 22.5 per year, but he has to take the long term.
The only way he stays with the Giants is if the Giants just extend him. Say, hey, don't opt out, keep the money,
and we'll do 2 more.
We're at 2 or 3 more on top of that. The Giants won't do that, though.
No, nor should they.
They weren't willing to give Kevin Gausman 5 years, which I'm still sad about.
Well, yeah, and he has a much healthier track record.
Yeah, exactly.
I just can't see Rodon getting that. So
and wanted to pitch in San Francisco. Like, he legitimately wanted to.
It's like he's like, please sign me, please, please. And they're like, nah. I mean, Rodon's good, but they should have probably.
They just they don't want to invest money long term into starting pitching. I get that. Like,
it makes sense with what they've been able to do. What about your boy Framber? You've been a big Framber guy. Remember, you were buying the dip last year. He's been excellent again this year. He's the SP11. You taking him or Strider next year? Or are you pairing those two? Because that's another good combo.
I would pair those two for sure. But I'm taking Framber. I just think he's just so safe. Like, he is like the safest pitcher.
Yeah.
Or not the safest, but one of the safest.
He's one of them. Like, he's just that ground ball rate. It just gets you such a good foundation.
And you're playing for that team.
Yep.
There's just so much to love from Framber. Definitely one of my better calls of the year.
You've been a big Framber guy in 2 years running now. He's paid off both of those years. Manoah, Gallen, Ohtani. I'm with those guys. Obviously, Fried, Scherzer. So a lot of these names aren't necessarily going to come out. So maybe Strider, because this is a rookie year with somebody who was more of a short volume type of guy, maybe he is more of an SP 12 to 15 in drafts. I wonder.
I feel a lot more comfortable with that. Like, if he's like my SP 13, 14, then I can feel really good about like pairing him with another guy, as opposed to like, you'd hate to pair a top 8 guy with another top 8 guy unless you want to do pocket aces. So, and I just don't know that that's what I want to do necessarily. It's still hard though, man. The track record is there's just no track record, right? It's just this year. Like,
it's nerve wracking, like, because he's so good. Spencer Strider's been so good, but it is nerve wracking when you have to pay absolute full freight for it, which is what you will have to do next year. All right, let's move on and talk some other pitchers, weekend streamers. Just going through, I went down the SP chart, grabbing guys who I think could be available in a lot of different formats. And so again, these are not all available in 10s or just available in this league. It's run the gamut, check your list. And we'll probably say, hey, on this one, we like him in mid-tier leagues. This one we like in deeper leagues. Let's just start with Jake Odorizzi against Miami. When his fastball command is working, he can handle anybody. He was great on Sunday night at the Cards. I've always been a big Odorizzi fan. He works up in the zone, so when he misses, it can be home runs. This is not the team that's going to take advantage of that, in my opinion. I mean, famous last words, he's going to give up 4 homers against them now that I said that. But what do you think about Jake Odorizzi as a streamer against Miami? I'm doing it across the board, by the way, anywhere where you're streaming personally.
Just don't let him go a third time through the order. Like it's that simple. He's got a 6.39 ERA when he goes through the order a third time. So just don't let him go through the order another time. And with the Marlins, like that's enough to get a win, right? Like, I mean, he can get through that order twice, without, and still get through 5 innings. He could maybe even get through 6 or 7 innings with how the Marlins play. So, I think it's just such an easy matchup. You have to take advantage of it. He was my roto write-up call for that day. So, yeah, I'm streaming him over the weekend for sure.
Yeah, we definitely like Jake Odorizzi. Is that the tonight start or
I think tomorrow?
Saturday start there. So there you go. Now, Baltimore, all 3 guys going to have availability in a lot of 12s and 10s. Dean Kremer, Austin Voth, Spenser Watkins, all at Oakland. I think they're all viable streamers. Give me your rank of the 3. And do you agree that they are viable streamers in 12s and 15s?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're viable, maybe even some 10 leagues, right? So
yeah. If you're really looking for something, I could get as low as 10s with Kremer and Voth specifically, not necessarily Watkins for me. I'm a little bit more tepid on him.
And I think the order is Voth, Kremer, Watkins.
Fully agree. Agree.
There's been studies shown, and we talked about this at First Pitch Arizona, which you can still sign up to go to. So you like how I dropped that in there.
Great
I was part of I led the streaming pitcher panel with Derek Carty and the great Michael Simeone SP streamer himself. And there's been data out there that shows like the best thing to target is a bad team. Like it's not even necessarily the type of pitcher. You just want to target the bad team.
The crappy team, yeah.
And you don't get much more crappy other than like we saw Washington versus Oakland this weekend. And there were some great games too.
Yeah, so. There really were. They played some really fun games. If you just forgot that they're both terrible.
It was the AAA championship right there.
Exactly.
You're just going to target Oakland. And I think both these guys, or both Voth and Kremer, are like high on my list. Watkins, probably not 10-team viable at all. Like they're probably just 12 and 15s. But again, a guy that I would target, Oakland with.
Yeah, I think that's exactly where I'm at with it, with the Baltimore guys. And yeah, Kremer and Voth definitely cut above Watkins at Oakland. Boston's facing Texas. All 3 of their guys are going to have some availability. Nick Pivetta, Brayan, Bello, Kutter, Crawford. Rank them and give us where you would use the 3 if you'd use all 3 in any particular format.
Man, I fall for Nick Pivetta every
I was just about to say, I know you're going to say Pivetta, so just tell us where you're using Pivetta.
No, I shouldn't be.
I know you shouldn't.
He murdered my main event. You don't say like
well. You tried to kick the football again.
I did.
You got John Brown with Pivetta.
And you think how many times I've broken my tailbone on Nick Pivetta? I learned my effing lesson. You probably shouldn't start any of these guys.
Bro, he had a 3.23 ERA through 16 starts. Like that's a pretty good sample to have a 3.23
and
ERA.
I cut off like I think the first or first
you probably weren't even
because I picked him up off the wire. I picked him up for the Baltimore start on May 1st.
So you got way better than that. If you go from May 1st on, it was a 2.18 ERA for 12 starts.
Yeah.
From May 1st.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And then Nick Pivetta came and broke my kneecap.
Yeah,
because don't you remember who I am?
His first 3 starts of July, 7, 6, and 7 earned. Now, 2 of them were against New York. So maybe we should have known, but he was pitching so well that I understand that it was difficult to get away. But what about Texas? Obviously, they're not as scary. Can you find yourself starting Pivetta against Texas in any format right now?
I mean, 15-team mix, I think you can make the argument because there's just so little out there.
Yeah. What are you going to get?
Yeah. But, I mean, you really shouldn't. Like, it's just, he just got 5 dropped on him by Tampa Bay, like, who's not, like, a great offense right now. Like, it's just, there's no real reason to start any of these guys. Like, Bello.
Yeah, what about Bello? He's come back. He's had 2 starts that have been at least a bit more palatable. He struck out 7 Jays that got everyone excited, but then was kind of back to mediocre at Minnesota his last time out. 4 innings, 3 runs on 5 hits and 3 walks, only 2 strikeouts. So the volatility is pretty sharp there that I don't think the matchup really matters for Bello. If he's off, even Texas is going to rip him. So I would say that that's a Hail Mary situation for Bello. I have to be chasing and really just in desperation. But if I'm anywhere in contention, I'm not starting him.
The question is, what are you chasing? Because he's probably not going to go deep enough into the game for a win. And so that becomes a real problem. So if you're just chasing strikeouts, great. But like, I don't know that there's very few situations where all you need is strikeouts. Like, you don't care about your ratios. You don't need a win. Like, if you need a win and strikeouts, I think you need to go a different direction because he's likely going to finish like at 4 1/3.
I'd go Odorizzi over Bello then. I think the Baltimore guys are better than Bello at that point too. And let's throw Kutter Crawford in here too, because he had some things going for a little while, but he has just fallen off in the last 3. This guy, if you look from July 4th through August 13th, he had a 45-inning run with a 3.20 ERA and a 3.32 FIP. So there was some viability to it. 41 strikeouts in 45 innings, 11 walks. The last 3 starts, Baltimore, Toronto, Minnesota, have absolutely crushed him. 12.08 ERA, 6.76 FIP, 12 strikeouts, 6 walks, 25 hits in 12 2/3 for Kutter Crawford. So I think I'm out on all the Boston guys. If anything, I could do Pivetta's start in deeper formats again if I'm chasing. But if I'm in the mix or protecting, no shot with any of these Boston guys.
Yeah.
Drew Smyly is available in shallower formats. He's going to St. Louis, which is a little bit dangerous. Not a bad park to pitch in, but obviously the offense is scary. Do you find yourself with any Drew Smyly interest here at St. Louis on the weekend?
St. Louis murders lefties, like just
and righties right now too. By the way,
and righties.
Can't get away from anything.
Like Paul Goldschmidt has like a 500 batting average against lefties, right?
You're not even joking, dude. I think it's like 465 or something. I don't know. I'll look it up, but it's crazy.
It's something ridiculous. Arenado's historically killed lefties. Albert Pujols is a god again.
It's 420 with a 517 OBP for Goldie against lefties this year.
Yeah,
1347 OPS.
No, Smyly's been really good, but I think he's still a matchup guy. And the worst matchup in the league is lefties against the Cardinals.
Toronto, or against Cardinals, not Toronto. I wouldn't want to do it either. Too risky. The blowout potential is severe. Even though Smyly's a good pitcher, this Cards team, you need to be avoiding this Cards team.
Absolutely.
Nick Lodolo, home against Colorado. Obviously, his home park is basically Coors Jr., but Colorado on the road, even in a good park, is never particularly scary. I would take the shot on Lodolo. He's a shallower format availability, 29% at Yahoo, 13% at ESPN. This is the kind of start where I'm looking to get Lodolo against Colorado, right? All formats where he's available.
Yeah. I think I'd take him over all the Boston guys, especially if you need strikeouts. Like, he's going to get strikeouts. Question is the team going to score enough runs to win? It's the Rockies on the road. I'll take that. Like, this is for a home start. Like, this is a pretty good home start.
Yeah, it doesn't get too much better than Lodolo versus Colorado at home. He's in line with Odorizzi and Kremer, Voth from Baltimore, as far as up at the top of this pack so far. Cleveland, all 3 of their guys have availability. Pleasac, Civale, Quantrill. They're facing Seattle though. And, you got to be careful with Seattle, too. It's not an overall punishing lineup where it's like top 5, but when they get you, they really get you. And they've been sitting right in the middle over the last 30 days against righties. Or wait, that's against lefties. Hang on. Since these are all righties, let's take a look. Seattle in the last 30 days, they are, Yeah, they're also mid-pack against them. So they're mid-pack against lefties and righties. So they're not super dangerous in terms of, wow, look at this top 5 WOBA. But they again, they can burn you. I'm a little nervous here with Pleasac, Civale, Quantrill. Quantrill, 15s and 12s. Civale, it's like 15s, and Pleasac, I don't even think I'm doing it. What say you with the Cleveland starters against Seattle? They are home, by the way.
Yeah, so Sivali 15s and 12s I would do. Quantrill, I think I would do 15s and 12s as well. Quantrill's been quietly really, really good.
He just like
he's boring, but like he's
a
really,
fit
really
beater
good.
though, right? Like he's one of these guys that he just is going to outrun it. I think pretty consistently because he knows how to keep weak contact and keep guys chasing out of the zone on the sinker and changeup. Yeah,
he's a guy that I was really high on like early in draft season. I wish I'd stuck with into my later.
He's been
draft.
Great again. I think we thought, hey, 289 ERA, 118 WHIP. He's not going to do that again. He's at 350, 118. Like the ERA regressed like we expected,
especially where he was going in drafts. Like he's been well worth the price.
Very cheap.
He's just been healthy and durable, which is great. Pleasac, the only place I'd be willing to start him is in like a deeper quality starts league, right? Because he's a guy that like he only volumes his way to like being viable in leagues at this point. But
to that point, I would give him some points league run too, because you can get pretty much anybody points league run. So that's kind of stating the obvious, but I will include that for Pleasac as well.
He's just one of those guys that always goes 6, and I mean that is so hard to find, especially this late in the season.
Yes. So all right, we're in lockstep on the Cleveland guys. Daniel Lynch at Detroit. Daniel Lynch has been one of those guys that also like the matchup doesn't matter because when he's off, anyone can get him. But I still think you got to take the shot against Detroit. In Detroit, they're so bad. I would take Daniel Lynch here in most formats. Maybe not a 10. Maybe don't need to go that deep in a 10 team. But Daniel Lynch at Detroit, if you can't start him here, I mean, there is no real reason to even consider him. So I'd give Daniel Lynch a look.
Yeah, like I mean, he hasn't been great or anything recently, but he hasn't been awful either. Like
you can see how it works, right? Like you can see the flashes.
Mm-hmm. I still want to make him a thing. Like he's gonna be a guy that I go after in deeper leagues next year, like late and stuff. I still kind of believe that he's going to turn out to be a pretty good pitcher. But I think I would start you versus Detroit, and we've seen your mechanics.
My mechanics were elite. Pitching Ninja said they were some of the best he's ever seen. Totally agree. Yeah. Would you now? This is not a streamer because actually he shouldn't be available. Maybe he was cutting some shallower leagues. But are you starting Tyler Mahle coming off the IL at the White Sox?
Probably not. I mean, I love Mahle. I'm a big Mahle stan, but I just don't love guys coming off the IL in their first start back. Like I think they're going to be very conservative with him. So I don't know that he's even going to have an opportunity to win the game.
He might only get did he go on rehab?
I honestly don't know.
Go ahead, keep talking.
Chicago's lineup isn't super scary. I mean, they're missing a lot of pieces.
True.
So I mean, if you're like super desperate, I can understand making the move. But I'd be careful.
Yeah, it's not like an automatic with Tyler Mahle coming back off the IL for the reasons you stated. Like, what if they just give him 4 to kind of dip his toes back in? He did not get a rehab assignment, so he's just kind of getting back together on the fly. I would in deeper formats, especially if I'm just like, hey, I need innings, but I'm not automatically doing it like you said. Play it a little bit cautiously where you can with Tyler Mahle against the White Sox.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't put this guy on the list, but I just noticed him, and he will be available in shallower formats. David Peterson. This could be his last start, too, because Carrasco's due back Sunday. He's penciled in for Sunday's start, so they got their guys back. But David Peterson gets a swan song here tonight against Washington. Would you start him in? If so, what formats?
Probably all of them. I mean, Washington's really, really bad. Washington doesn't strike out a ton against lefties, but they're still just a really bad team. So, I have no problem starting David Peterson probably in every format.
How terrified are you of Joey Meneses, though? This guy's amazing. He's this year's Frank Schwindel right now. 30-year-old just
I've written that exact thing twice now on the road.
Oh, really? I didn't see. I didn't mean to bite your stuff. We've been saying that on my stream, so we are in lockstep.
Yeah,
there.
that he is like. You look at what he underneath the hood, and you go, okay, like it's not anything special.
Yeah,
like he's probably a league average bat, just in general.
Will they play him next year though? He's 31 next year. Will Washington
but I think he's exactly Frank Schwindel, where he just falls completely off. And
keep the Frank Schwindel comp.
I mean, they probably will play him because that team. Like, who else are they going to play?
That's true. As long as he doesn't block, some 24-year-old. But I don't know if Hassell's going to be ready yet. So they can play him in the outfield because they'll still have Voth. So Voth will continue to play first, but Meneses can maybe continue to play a corner. And as long as they're not blocking off anybody who's, legit prospect, I totally get it. See if he can parlay this run. I mean, he's been amazing. He's obviously not this good. He has a 180 WRC plus. Where are you picking him up, by the way, though? Because he had another big week.
Everywhere.
Okay. You're picking up everyone just because he's playing every day, right?
He's been on my tout team for a while now. And I'm stoked to have him. Because he's that team is like that had
he's been unreal.
He's been so good, and that tout team has been trying to fall apart with injuries right now. But like I had Brandon Lau, Shane McClanahan, and who was the other pitcher that all went down on Monday? Like it was like everybody went down on Monday. You
have Verlander on that team?
No, it wasn't anybody that good, but it was. Okay. Anyways, just like. He's just been so good, but like there's nothing special underneath the hood. Like he's got a league average zone contact, like a league average O swing. Like the exit velocity it's good. I mean it's pretty good actually. But like the hard hit rate is fine. Like there's nothing like amazing where you go Meneses is like he's a star. He's just a late bloomer. No, he's probably just a guy.
Yes, but playing his best baseball, and hats off to him. I'm not trying to be negative or anything. It's just simple facts here that there's a reason that we both happened on that Schwindel comp. Mm-hmm. I'm not drafting him next year either. I don't care how late. He won't be expensive. I don't care. Joey Meneses, keep killing it though. I don't want to be too negative on him.
Schwindel had way better underlying skills.
Exactly, and he had some people buying because of those underlyings, and he fell apart. Yeah, so like
it was me.
Justin pointing to himself, by the way, saying that he was buying Schwindel because again, there were some things on the underlying, but then he has not panned out this year, and I think that'll be the same for Meneses. All right, let's get back to our streamers here. JP Sears at Baltimore, the left-hander. Now he's had an interesting run so far with Oakland. The ERA is pretty solid, but the underlying stats are like quite awful. Literally has 4.6 K9, 3.4 walks per 9. So 11 strikeouts, 8 walks in his 21 and a third to go with that 2.53 ERA, suggesting, hey, be careful. But it is in Baltimore, which, hey, that's actually a good place to pitch these days because of that wall. Where would you be considering JP Sears?
15 teamers, that's about it.
Yeah, same here right now.
Like he's got a minuscule swing and strike rate.
He can't get the slider going yet. Sorry to interrupt you, but like he has swing and miss in the minors, but for some reason Sears has not gotten that slider going at the major league level just yet.
Yeah, and he gives up so much contact in the zone. He's like almost 90% zone contact, which like you can get out of innings quickly and sometimes
when the ball goes right to somebody, but if it doesn't,
and that defense is not great behind him anyways. Like I just feel like there's a blow up coming, like a huge blow up coming, either with a long ball or just
Don't let it be tonight. I have him in the main. I can't have it. I can't have it, man. But
Baltimore's offense is not something to attack.
No, they might struggle a bit because of their park, but it's not because of their talent. They can absolutely rise up and get you. You have to be careful with that team.
You got Mullins, Rushman. Santander has been amazing this year.
Oh my God, yes. He gets the White Sox next week at home. Is there anything JP Sears can do in this start that would give you some interest in the White Sox start?
Sure, because like I said, that White Sox team, they lost Eloy last night.
Mm-hmm. Elvis Andrus has been leading off the last couple days.
Yeah, like,
That's
no
all you
Tim
need to know.
Anderson. Yeah, like Luis Robert has just not been right this year.
Yeah.
Jose Brayu quietly leading the American League in batting average.
I did not know that. That is a good little
I saw it
quiet
last night.
tidbit.
Like, it's been kind of a power outage for him because I think he's one of these kind of fence scraper dudes, and the new ball's hurting him. But like I want to say I saw like that he's like third in baseball in batting average and first in the American League. I'm double checking that because I shouldn't just take. Oh no, he's not. Luis Ariz and Xander Bogaerts above him, but still, it's hitting 308.
That's still it's still really good to your point about Jose Brayu.
Six in the majors. So maybe it was on base percentage.
Oh, okay. What's his LBP?
Judge was fun. Judge way ahead of him. It's 385. He's in 308, 385, 454. He's having a fantastic year.
It's very good, but that power is down. It was 481 last
homers, year. Yeah, is not going to do it. So yeah, I mean, is Sears goes out and shoves and we see some strikeouts.
That's the thing. If we see swing and miss,
yeah, if he gets some whiffs, I'll be like, oh, okay, we're starting to see some kind of progress here. But until I see some whiffs, he's really just a team matchup streamer, and the problem is he doesn't get to face his own team.
Exactly. And so that's where I'm at with him too. And I like Sears. I went out and got him ahead of time before he was called up in our main because I really like him with Oakland. I did call out that swing and miss though that we hadn't seen yet, and I'm saying, hey, hopefully he can find it with Oakland. He hasn't yet. So while the ERA has been good, it's skating, and I just hope he can survive tonight because then I'm going to take him out next week and sit him for that White Sox start. All right, next up is Roansy Contreras. Now he's very intriguing. A lot of people like him, and I think we both do too. But it's Toronto. It is at home in PNC Park. But would you take a shot on Roansy? He's only available in shallower leagues. In deeper leagues, he's already on a roster, but he's available in some shallower formats for sure. Would you pick him up, Roansy Contreras, to face Toronto?
I mean, here's the thing. The question really should be, how big of a set of balls do you have? Because, I have him in the main. I picked him up before he got recalled, and I've barely used him. Because the matchup since he's been called up was home versus Boston, home versus Atlanta, at Philadelphia.
It doesn't get easier next week either. It's Toronto tonight and then St. Louis next week.
I mean, I'm using him because I have to in the main. I need to just take shots. But you got to have a big pair or be in my situation because I don't have
a big pair or no brain, right?
Yeah, exactly. Desperation.
Yes, desperation is what we want here.
But when he is on,
he can be matchup proof. Roansy Contreras can be matchup proof when he's on. He's very, very good.
He's one of those guys I'm really interested to see where he goes in early drafts because I could see him having one of the widest range of outcomes in terms of his ADP, his min max. I just think there are going to be some people who, and I think by the time we get to March, he's going to be expensive. People are going to be like, oh, he's this year's Blake Snell or this year's Robbie Ray. People
believers will be especially if Roansy Contreras has a big September. That price will go through the roof, dude.
I mean, he's quietly starting to have a pretty big second half in the majors. I mean,
we still can't make heads or tails of why they kept him down so long and they weren't even pitched. I mean, I guess it was just inning saving, but they didn't say anything about it when Roansy Contreras was down there in AAA doing nothing.
I think service time.
It's clear that they were manipulating, but I can't believe they didn't say anything. Hey, he's a little sore, so we're not they're just nah, we're just blatantly gonna just not pitch him and he'll be up when he's up.
So but I mean, he should be up from day one next year, and he's going to be a major target of mine until the price goes through the roof, and I expect it to.
But we draft so early that we can get some early Roansy Contreras shares, and we can inflate that price. We won't catch the inflation. We will be the inflators. It's a new Avengers series, the Inflators, and it's early nerds like us who draft all the fun sleepers and ruin the party for everybody.
That's the hope.
You took them 7 rounds above ADP. The Inflators are here. All right, Clark Schmidt at Tampa Bay. The young, I added 3 more names there real quick since we got a little bit of time on your heart out. So just 3 more guys here. Clark Schmidt, Jakob Junis, Jacob Jonas, and Josiah Gray. Clark Schmidt at Tampa Bay. What do you think about him getting a start here? Yankees prospect.
Oh, I mean, yeah, Tampa Bay is not super scary, but Clark
Don't
Schmidt,
tempt them, okay? Because when we say shit like that is when they go off for a month and then start beating up everyone with their no-name ass team. Don't tempt them.
It's such a no-name ass team. The problem is Clark Schmidt's walk rate gets him in trouble.
Yes.
And Tampa Bay is traditionally a team that's very patient and makes you pay for walking guys. So,
and even if it's not crazy walk rates, they will work deeper counts too. Like it's sometimes not everything comes through via the walk rate, but you see it in the at bat where they're taking 6-7 pitch at ABs to get to the guy too.
So I mean, he's one of these guys where I think if you are win seeking, he pitches for New York. Like you know, you can take the gamble, but he doesn't offer a ton of strikeout upside, and you know there is a chance he gets he doesn't give up home runs. Like I'm not worried about the long ball crushing him or anything. But, like I could just see him getting BABIP to death, you know, or
couple walks,
guys,
like few key hits after those walks, and it can really spiral. But like you said,
where he gives up like 7 hits and 3 walks, and you look down, you're like, oh, he gave up 7 earned runs, awesome, like you know, So I'd be a little bit tentative on Clark Schmidt.
I agree. I would go for it where I'm being riskier, where I have loosened the thresholds and I'm trying to catch some lightning in a bottle. Clark Schmidt makes sense there, but anything else, you can play a little bit more cautiously. Jacob Jonas has shown some flashes with your Giants, but he's shown some negativity too, where he can really get you when things aren't working. Still has a little bit of a home run issue as well. It is at home, but it is Philly, and Philly's rolling. Would you go for Jacob Jonas here against Philly?
Isn't he also pitching with a broken hand? Like, I mean,
wait, he's pitching with a broken hand.
I think it's his glove hand. But,
okay, that's impressive. Still, though.
He got hit with a comebacker, and I think there's like a fracture in his hand.
I wouldn't feel good.
Yeah,
small fracture in his left hand, and he is right-handed. So, but still, it's like you are feeling that pain probably when you're like just grabbing your glove and shit.
Right. I don't. And you're Philadelphia now. No way am I doing this. Like,
not even in San Francisco. Too scary. I like Junis. I like Jonas earlier, but it's been too scary. The downs are really scary. That's the thing too. So if you are in a situation where a 6-run bomb can really hurt you, then don't go for Jonas here. If you're chasing and you're Hail Marying, that's when he becomes appealing. But that's it. Yeah. And then the last one, Josiah Gray. Speaking of Hail Mary, I would have to be in Hail Mary mode here because he's at the Mets, and with his home run issue, it's only the hailest of Marys for me with Josiah Gray right now. I like him long time, but it has to be the hailest of Marys. Absolutely. What about you? I know you like it too, but
I love him.
Yeah.
But
are you streaming him against the Mets?
I am in Tout Wars because I need wins. I need strikeouts.
Crazy son of a gun.
Well, and like I said, like I lost 2 starting pitchers
you've been
this
getting
week, and at least like Tout Wars has like that rule that I talked about last week that I hated earlier this week, that you have to start a guy that you pick up, but they also have a really cool rule in a weekly league where you can replace guys who go on the IL or activate guys coming off the IL even in a weekly format. So
that is very cool.
When McClanahan and I can't remember, like I said, the other guy that I had go on the IL earlier this week. Josiah Gray in my lineup, baby. Here we go. Like,
gotta do it. Gotta get that start.
I the difference between like 10th place in wins and 2nd place in wins is like 6 wins. Like I mean,
our main is like that too. As I'm sure you've noticed, where the wins are just like every little one can move somebody into a big situation there. So I feel that obviously it's not a great chance to get a win against the Mets. But he's another one of those guys. So Josiah Gray, stepping back for a minute from the memes. When he's on, he's matchup proof. But when he's off, he's matchup proof too.
It's all about command. It's all
his command. But he can take on anybody when he's going. But if not, he can give up 3 homers and just have an absolute bomb. So again, if you are trying to avoid the 10-run bomb, you cannot start Josiah Gray. But if you're getting a little risky like Justin is, and you got to kind of go for whatever you can get, and you're chasing Ks, that's where Josiah Gray becomes more appealing. I'll still be drafting him next year, but in this one weekend stream, I'm trying to avoid him as much as I can.
I mean, he is a younger version of Robbie Ray. Like he at some point is going to have that Robbie Ray breakout.
I think so too.
And I'm gonna keep going back to the well and Nick Pivetta-ing it up.
You got several years before where Nick Pivetta yet though, so don't worry. But he
He's
does have
already better than Nick Pivetta. Like
he does have an MLB high 32 homers allowed at 2.3 per 9. So they need to fix that. Probably didn't get traded to the best team for that, given their park. But hopefully the right pitching coach can kind of find that one tweak for him, or he finds it on his own to where he can get those homers in check. But we'd still like Josiah Gray long term. So there you go. There's some weekend streamers. We're bringing home these titles. Everything is so intense. I love September fantasy baseball when you're chasing, because it's just so exciting. It's everything about like why we love this game. You're living and dying with everything. Of course, it can be agonizing. It can go the other way when your players aren't playing or your injuries are cropping up on Monday, like you had with Tout and just two guys. Oh, there goes my ace. Shane McClanahan's just not pitching right now. That stuff hurts. Or like Corbin Burns kind of getting beat up by Pittsburgh, the most unexpected thing. So stuff like that can be crushing, but the highs are really high where it's like, you know, you pick up Bubba Thompson and he actually pans out. Like he has 9 steals for those of us that had to get him. I speak from personal experience on that one, where I'm like, I'll take a shot on this guy who can't seem to hit, but did steal 49 bases at AAA. And he's got 9 in 24 games, Justin. It's working.
He's one of these guys that people are going to go back to the well on next year and be really, really disappointed. Like,
absolutely. You couldn't pay me. No shot next year. Yep. I'll take what I got this year.
I got some like pushback on Bubba Thompson, like, you know, because he's a guy I've really been intrigued by, but in the minors, because he has such great power and speed upside. But like, dude cannot hit. Like he cannot hit. Like
he's got good raw, by the way. Yeah. For those that don't know, Bubba Thompson actually has good raw power, like 50, 55, great. But his game power is well below average, like 30, 35. And what that disconnect is, there isn't one set thing. Basically, the difference between raw and game is, in batting practice, he can show that he's got some real punch, but push come to shove when the players are trying against him, he can't get to that power. And that is obviously a key difference between what turns somebody from a prospect to a suspect. So if he can't figure that out, he's going to be one of these guys who can't steal first. But like I said, right now, 329 OBP, and I have 9 steals in 24 games. I will take it from Bubba Thompson.
That's huge, and especially in that kind of league. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you've got more Tout Daily tonight. The first night did not go particularly well.
No, it went poorly. Went
about
very,
as poorly
very
as it could go, but you're not out. So hopefully tonight you have a better night. And the guy who there was a chalky pick. It was Gosman. You didn't have him. Everyone else did. He panned out. And then some of your sneakier plays like Matt Manning, sorry about that. I was highly recommending him to you. He was terrible. But
Aaron Nola, thanks a lot.
Aaron Nola against Diamondbacks. But hey, we talked about this offline. Yeah. Be careful. And this is not for Nola or for Brandon Woodruff last night, but be careful with your streaming righties against Arizona. Obviously, you still have to start your studs. I would never sit Nola. I would never sit Brandon Woodruff. But if you are streaming and you're thinking, oh, Arizona, easy peasy, be careful. Again,
unless
I don't
you're
see
a monster and Bailey Falter, like just, you know.
Well, he's lefty though.
Yeah, I know.
You got to be careful with them against righties.
Dicing him up.
I will say there's no real nobody that really fits that next week, because Musgrove and Darvish are automatics. I don't care how good their offense has been. Yeah. And then their other 3 games next week are in course, so that doesn't matter anyway. But the week after that, like, just be careful with your Diamondbacks against with your righty streamers against the Diamondbacks. That lineup is kind of cooking right now. But you got to get out of here, Justin. Have a great weekend. Are you and Jason working together on Sunday?
I hope so. I'll have to check with him. But yeah,
excellent. All right, man. Well, have a good one. I'll talk to you later.
Take it easy.